Hi there, I'm Lisa Taylor, and this is Ideas on Truth. This is going to be a really quick one, but I had to come on and talk to you about this because it has been burning a hole in my brain. The size of error doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how big the number is in math when we make a mistake. It doesn't matter that, the decimal point on 3 million is in one place and the decimal point on 3 is in another place. Oh wait, I should do it the other. I don't know which way is backwards for you guys. Which is left and which is right. I think it's this way for you. So 3,000, like there's the 3 here, lots of zeros, or 3 million, and then move the decimal point over and it's 3. So what I mean by that is, whatever the truth is that we need to apply to correct the mistake in thought, to correct the mistaken belief, the false belief that's underlying whatever this problem is, the truth corrects and wipes out the error. It doesn't matter how big the mistake is. If you misplace a decimal point in math, the decimal point in a different place makes the error look bigger or smaller, but it's still just a decimal point moving from one place to another. So the mistake is still the same mistake that needs to be corrected. And Colleen, who just joined us, knows what I'm talking about because we were talking about it earlier this morning. If you have a room full of darkness, a whole room full of dark, and you turn on one little light, all the darkness goes away. It doesn't matter if you have this much dark or a room full of dark. The darkness is obliterated by the light. The mistake is obliterated by the correction. So the size of the error is not the point. I was just thinking of the little pun in my brain, decimal point, but I digress. I will not go down that path. The size of the mistake doesn't matter. What matters is that we recognize there's a mistaken thought, a false belief that we're clinging to, some mistaken cause and effect relationship that we've built in our brain when it's not true. What matters is recognizing there's a mistake and applying the truth, correcting it with the truth, reversing it with what is true. That's what matters. What matters is, let's correct the mistake. Let's focus on the truth to wipe out the error. Let's focus on turning on the light to get rid of the darkness. We don't go into the darkness and try to figure out the darkness. And why is it dark? And what is the dark? And identify the dark and compare that dark room with other dark rooms and examine and quantify and qualify and do all that stuff and do all this examination of the dark. Doesn't get rid of the dark. Turning on the light does. Turning on the light. So that's what we need to be focusing on in our thought. Recognize there's a mistake. Absolutely. I feel a little off. How do we recognize the mistake? I mean, that's one of the things actually that I think a lot of people get caught up with. I know I do. When I get caught in a mistake, I get caught in a way of thinking about something. Say I have a disagreement with a friend. And I'm focused on my replay of the scenario, the discussion that we had, where I felt certain things about, I felt wronged or unseen or whatever it was that I was feeling. And I replay that over and over in my head and I try to analyze it and figure it out. And what did they say? And what did I say? And what was I feeling? And blah, 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 blah. And I can spend endless amounts of time in there, in that little place, on that track, running around and around and around and around. I get a lot of exercise on that track, but it's all based on a mistake. So recognizing that I'm in a loop and I'm operating under a false sense of things, I'm making a mistake, missing the mark. That's, the definition of sin is missing the mark. I'm missing the point here. I'm missing the fact that I'm doing it, seeing it wrongly. Recognize that we're in that loop, that we're making a mistake, and go, oh, wait, pause. There's some mistaken understanding here. There's some mistake in my thinking. I'm establishing some cause and effect relationship that's based on a lie. Let's take the example of an argument with a friend. Premise is you both love each other, but there's this weird interaction that happened and there's a misunderstanding. So the lie is that you could be seen. I'm not going to talk about them because our business is not what they do. Our business is how we see. The lie for me is that somehow I could be seen as something other than who I truly am. If I am only God's reflection and I am only God's child, then that's the only thing that can be seen. And as I focus on that fact, the lie that something else could occur, it immediately takes me out of that loop of thinking, how did they see me and what did they see and how can I correct it and how can I defend myself and blah, 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 blah. We get into that loop. But if I apply the truth, I'm God's child. I am good because God is good. I can see the goodness in me. And as I see the goodness in me and reflect the goodness in me, everyone can see that. They can't help but see that. There is nothing else to see here. Kind of like in Star Wars, I love that scene. These are not the droids you're looking for. If you don't know that scene, we'll talk about it later. But that's what we're talking about. Claiming that the truth is in operation now. The light is turned on now. Recognizing I'm in a dark room and then finding the light switch. Not recognizing I'm in a dark room and thinking about the darkness and analyzing the darkness. I can say this all different ways. 3 times or 1 times 3 million is 3 million. 1 times 3 is 3. If I move the decimal point, it's a bigger, I do 1 times 3 is 3. If I say 1 times 3 is 4, that's a mistake. 1 times 4 million is or 1 times 3 million is 4 million, that's the mistake. But the mistake is the same concept in both cases. So the 4 million mistake, as opposed to 3 million, the right answer, it seems like a bigger mistake, but it's not. The correction, it's the same. I'm making the same mistake in identifying the answer the wrong way. And so the correction is, when I multiply 1 times the number, it's the identity multiplication, it is the same number. So the mistake is the same. 1 times 3 is 4, same mistake as 1 times 3 million is 4 million. That's the mistake is, I don't understand that 1 times any number is that number. When I understand that truth, I can apply that truth to the smaller number, to the bigger number, and the same correction is made. And even though the bigger number looks like a bigger problem, it's the same in our lives. Did I have a hangnail or a heart attack? It's the same lie that I'm made of matter and that matter can run my life. That somehow my body has control over me. We are masters of our bodies. Take possession of your body and govern its feeling and action. That's a quote from Mary Baker Eddy. Take possession of your body and govern its feeling and action. It is not the boss of you. So if you subscribe to some belief, subscribe to some lie or some mistaken belief that your body can tell you how you feel and what's going on and what the truth about you is, if you subscribe to that belief, the correction is the dismantling of the belief and applying the truth to that. I am not made up of matter. I am not made up of brain, blood, bones, and other material elements. That's part of the definition of man in science and health. I am not a material being. I am a spiritual being. I am an idea in mind, capital M, God. So the correction of hangnail or heart attack is, I am not material. I am not a physical being walking around on the planet. This stuff that looks like a body, solid spirit. There's a concept that I'm still grasping the tail of to understand, but I know that's true. So, anyway, I don't want to be too long today. I love this concept. The size of the mistake is not the point here. The size of the mistake, don't get distracted by the size of the mistake. Don't get distracted by the size of the problem, the size of the error. Don't get distracted by that. Don't get caught up in the loop. Don't get sucked into the darkness and analyzing the darkness. Head for the light switch. Recognize you're in a loop and say, wait, pause. I don't want to be in this loop. I don't want to keep running around on this track. I want to get off the track and I want to find the truth that corrects the error underlying whatever the problem seems to be, however big the problem seems to be. And sometimes the universe keeps escalating the look of the problem to get our attention so that we can correct that underlying belief. You know, if we don't correct it when it's little, it shows up as a little thing. We don't correct it. We just kind of let it go by. Or we just say, oh, well, that's okay. You know, I have this little pain. Oh, that's okay. When the pain gets bigger and bigger and bigger, we start paying more and more attention to it. Then it's a big problem. Then we pay attention to it. Don't let it get to be a big problem. Because the big problem is just, let me get your attention. Let's correct this misunderstanding that's underlying this. So correct them when they're little. Correct them when they just are little suggestions. Because those suggestions get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger till we pay attention. So pay attention to the little ones. I guess that's the only sort of indicator that sort of size matters in mistakes or suggestions, to encourage us to say, correct them when they're little. Because it's, I don't know, it seems a little easier somehow. It doesn't seem to be as much of a struggle. It's not as impressive, and it doesn't distract us as much. That's the only way, I guess, size would sort of, I would differentiate in size. Sometimes problems seem bigger and they seem scarier. They sort of engender more, that's what it is. It engenders more fear, I think, when it's bigger. So anyway, it's Saturday morning. I'm going to go for a hike. You can see I'm in my hiking stuff. I don't usually come on Saturday morning, but maybe I will. Maybe I'll start doing little ones and big ones. Because I miss you guys when I do it only once a week or once every few days. I like coming on and talking to you more regularly and doing little bits. So thanks for watching. If you're watching on the replay, #replay and let me know where you're from. I love seeing how many people all over the world are watching. It's just so much fun. And, you know, talk amongst yourselves as well. You know, you can always reach me at ideasontruth@gmail.com, or you can PM me on Facebook if you're watching this on Facebook, YouTube, or perhaps on Tay-Truth. I don't know where you're watching this, but be in touch. Because I am loving working with my clients, and it is so much fun, and I just get such a kick out of applying this truth. So love you guys, and see you next time. Bye.